my biggest question is, where did the idea for Dishonored kind of come from for you guys? Because it is unique in the sense that it's not like a lot of other games out there, especially with steampunk.
Yep. Yeah. So we've been working on the game for a little bit over 3 years now, and we started with like a very realistic historical layer, right? So when we were first looking at the game, we knew right off the bat, because of the kind of games that we like and the kind of games we've made in the past, like we knew what kind of game it was going to be. We want to make our specialty is like first-person action game, simulation elements, light RPG stuff. So it's going to be that kind of game no matter what. But we started looking at historical stuff, and we were looking at London, like in the 1600s.
It's definitely sort of the kind of
looking at like industrial era. After that, we looked at like industrial era revolution type stuff, whaling towns, and eventually we started layering on more fantastic stuff. So we're like, hey, the player's not just an assassin; he's a supernatural assassin. And where does he get his powers from? And that started, developing its own lore. And then we started adding on the what people are calling the steampunk layer, this like retro futuristic technology, and it's based on the whaling industry. And so it all just started coming together. And our art guys went out and did all kinds of research. Also, Victor and Sebastian Mitton, our art directors, they created the visual style of Dishonored, and so it all kind of came in all these different layers, and kind of how we ended up with it.
It seems to have meshed very well. I'm not gonna lie, the way the game's set up, and even the way it's just kind of portrayed in the game itself. Like Dunwall is very. I mean, it's a depressing city. You guys hit that kind of
right. At the time of the game, Dunwall is undergoing a pretty bad plague, and then right off the bat, the Empress gets killed, you get blamed, this tyrannical guy takes over, does like a little military coup, so yeah, things are bad in the city.
Now, I know we got to kind of see some of the, I guess they're called weepers, which I guess it's kind of how the plague affects people.
Yeah, a lot of people just die from the plague, and then a few people start to go into this sort of degenerative condition.
Definitely kind of creepy, especially because you don't tend to see them. I mean, there were a couple spots in the demo there where I was going around, and you'd hear them kind of like wailing, or I guess weeping for the most part, and then all of a sudden you turn around, the's like 6 or 7 behind you, and it's like, oh God, what am I doing?
Quick, change directions.
Yeah. So you guys definitely kind of hit that. I mean, is there going to be more with the plague when the game comes out, though? Or, I mean, I'm just kind of curious about that, since they seem to be kind of a nuisance right now? I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of it actually depends on, the city is in pretty bad condition, but the way the city ends up is in the player's hands. So
there's multiple branches.
Yeah, so depending on how you play the game, if you're the kind of guy who is just going to go in and massacre everyone in sight, then you're contributing to the overall balance of chaos in the city. You're making the city worse because of your actions, and so you're sort of locking yourself into like a very dark end game. On the other hand, you can play in a way that's very surgical, very precise. You can even go so far as to not kill anyone in the game. And if you do that, you get a much better ending, or a much more positive ending, I should say, because maybe you want to have the dark ending and just explore that. So
it's definitely pretty cool. I know you mentioned the Supernatural before. You had I haven't seen a ton about it besides my own research, but like The Outsider.
Yeah.
I guess that's the one that kind of gifts Corvo with his abilities, or...
Yeah, so The Outsider is this very mysterious, godlike figure, but it's not super clear whether he's good or bad. But what does happen, though, is he does grant you your powers, and sort of it's almost like a test. Like, let's see what you do with what you've been given. And you will meet other characters in the game, too. They're sort of like you, that have been touched by the Outsider, and they've had very different paths, or maybe they're similar paths, depending on how you're playing the game. But you'll meet some of these other characters along the way.
Well, I know I saw you guys release the cast list today. I know Dowd?
Yeah, Dowd. That's a good example. He is an assassin in the game, kind of like you in some respects. And you run into him in the game a couple of times.
I feel like he's going to probably play some type of like mentor role almost. I don't know about that, but
my lips are sealed for the moment. I'll have to wait and see.
I mean, just alone with that, even kind of speaking of just the characters, with the cast that you guys announced, it's spectacular.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Like, we were so jazzed when a bunch of those people signed up for the game. That was really great to work with them. They're super talented, and
a bunch of Academy Award nominees.
I know, it's insane. Yeah, that was super fun to work with them.
It's pretty awesome. Did it take like any cajoling on your guys' parts, or were they pretty much like ready to go? Or?
No, they were like professionals, you know. So, and even all the people who did voices in the game that aren't superstar celebrities, like they were really great too. Like we were super happy with all of the voice acting in our game, and yeah, they're super fun to work with.
It's awesome. I know a lot of times, and you'll get like some of the bigger name Hollywood actors or actresses, and they come in and they kind of deliver their lines flatly, and then it's like, oh well, they got the paycheck and they leave. I guess that's not what happened here, hopefully.
No, yeah, that didn't happen at all.
Very nice.
Everything was really great. John Slattery in particular, like he was super fun to work with. He's a really great guy.
I've heard he's been pretty cool, like on set and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
I'm glad you guys got to have fun with that. That's a lot of times voice actors. I mean, depending on the type of game it is, can make or break sometimes. Just the immersion of it.
Yeah, I was totally geeking out with John Slattery because I'm such a fanboy of Mad Men. My wife and I are totally addicted to that show. So just the fact that I got to meet him and that he's a voice actor in our game, it's just like I'm totally blown away.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, I know that's a great show in the first place, but yeah. It's lucky. I guess you got to kind of both mix your fun for work and then your fun for personal life a little bit.
Totally. It was like a really great crossover.
Well, I mean, is there anything for the game that we don't know about that you're willing to talk about? I mean, you guys have been released a lot of stuff. I know it's coming out in like barely 2 months.
Yeah, I got to tell you, that feels like an eternity to me because I can't wait for the game to come out. We're sort of in this phase, and this phase of the project is always kind of weird because you're mostly done with the game. You're not really working on content anymore. There's really just a few bugs, a few more things to polish, and then there's just like a stretch where you just like really don't touch the game for like a month or 2 months, and you're just like, come on, I want people to see the game. I want people to play the game. Yeah.
So, are you guys close to gold status then, or?
Yeah, we're basically just finishing up the game now. So.
Oh, awesome. I was just curious because I know a lot of times you have like sometimes they hit gold like a week before. Sometimes and they kind of frantically go and stamp out the discs.
Yeah, I mean, you also have to go. We have to go through the certification process. So we have to submit to Microsoft and to Sony, and they have to evaluate it. And if they find a bug or a problem, then they send it back to us. We fix it and send it back to them. So,
okay.
It can be pretty nail biting.
I bet. I mean, especially when you guys have what essentially I think is going to amount to probably be a AAA title, hands down for.
I hope so. We're super excited. Like I said, we've worked on it for 3 years. It's the kind of game that all of us love to play. So it's really like a big. It's great to be able to make the kind of game that you really like to play. Also, so we hope that everybody else likes it as much as we do.
Well, I mean, you guys coming from you have, I can't think of his name right now, but I know Victor's from Valve and. The other one, I can't think of his name either, but I apologize. He worked on Deus Ex, I believe.
Harvey Smith?
Yes, Harvey Smith, that's it. I know, I did feel a lot of Deus Ex from the game. It was kind of, I'm guessing, intentional on your guys' part.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the makeup of our team, on the art side, we've got Victor, who's on some of the BAWLS stuff. Sebastian Miton is our art director. He's really talented. Some of us work on Deus Ex, and then Raph and a bunch of the guys from Arkane, they made Messiah, which had really great, I think, first-person melee combat. They worked on Ars Fatalis. And the thing about all those games is that they're first-person action games. They give the player a lot of creativity and a lot of expression. They have RPG elements, and that's just the kind of stuff that we love. So put all that stuff together.
I mean, I've said it a few times on the website now. It's kind of like the game combines just so much. And it's not like some games where you have like, oh yeah, there's this, there's this. This one really makes it kind of seamless, especially with just the ability that you use both the powers and weapons simultaneously. You don't feel like you're kind of like trying to mess with it and do one thing at a time and switch to the other one. You can pretty much just go on the fly and keep going.
I mean, I think every gamer has had those conversations with your friends where you're like, it'd be awesome. It's like, if I could play this game, which I really like, but it had this thing also, Everyone has that kind of dream, you know, and it's always like this game, Dishonored. This is the kind of game that when I think of, you know, it would be awesome if I could do this and this and this. Like that's this game for me.
I see that. Trust me. I mean, you guys combine a lot into it, and it comes out. You've done a great job, I'd say, just from what we played with the demo here. I mean, granted, it's one level. I want to see the rest of it. I'm dying to see the rest of it.
Yeah.
But
Did you play the level on the expo floor? Because that's a different level.
I did actually. Yeah, that one a little bit different even in itself. I mean.
Yep. Each one of the levels in Dishonored, each one of the missions, I should say, because there's lots of levels, but each one of the missions we tried really hard to make them different, not just like traditional assassination style missions. We do have the like canonical, like you need to infiltrate this place and get into this highly guarded area where everybody's hostile, take out your target and then get out. But then we have a lot of variety, like the Boyle mission that we just did, where it's like a murder mystery, and then the other mission that I was referencing, the bridge, you have to actually kidnap somebody instead of kill them or eliminate them. You have to bring them
different.
Back. Yeah.
Most games don't really have the kidnapping part. It's just assassinate or do this or that.
Totally.
So that's kind of neat. Now, I'm kind of curious, what made you guys pick the mission orientation and not like an open world structure? I mean,
well, there's lots of different reasons. One of them is, of course, technological. Like making an open world game is a much different, like workflow, pipeline, and technology. And there's what is the team really good at doing versus what would take us longer to ramp up on and learn. But then also there's just like attention to detail. Like by picking a mission-based structure, like all of our content is very handcrafted. Like everything down to the minutest detail is, it's handmade. A lot of special attention is put into it.
That gives you a more unique experience for each level, I guess.
Yep.
So I'm kind of curious. I mean, for some reason in my mind, I don't recall Wolfenstein, the more recent one. I can't think of the full title of it, but it had like a hub system, but then it had each individual mission.
Yeah.
Are you guys doing something along that line, or?
We have something similar. So we are mission-based, but each mission is very open-ended. So, like when you go to a mission, you get dropped off at the location, but you're not told exactly like where you have to go next or the steps that you have to take in order to complete the mission, and it'll be like everybody else, right? Instead, it's a very like you get some clues and some hints and some general direction, but it's up to you what you're going to do first, whether you're going to do some side missions that may or may not help you. And so there's lots of optional content along the way. So within each mission, the player has a lot of choices and a lot of options to pursue. And then you always go back to, you have a group of allies who are your helpers.
I guess the Loyalists?
Yeah, it's the Loyalist Conspiracy. And it includes a guy called Piero, for instance, who is an inventor who helps you upgrade your gadgets and gives you new tools. So between missions, you go back to these guys, and they give you new mission updates, new story information, and sometimes little things happen at your home too.
That's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of nice too to have that whole central area, I guess, for you guys, because then you can actually have like Piero, who's the inventor there, and everything like that. So it's kind of you have a place to kind of collect your stuff afterwards and then go back out.
Exactly.
That's pretty nice. Can you replay old missions to do better or anything?
Yeah, exactly. So we have a feature where once you have unlocked a mission, you can go back and replay it anytime.
Oh, very nice.
So you can try new strategies.
That's pretty awesome. And I guess will that change the outcome of the game as you're playing, or does it?
Yeah. So the chaos system that I was talking about. So depending on how you complete each mission, that's going to contribute to the overall chaos level in the world. And so the end of the game will either be really dark or less dark. Depending on how you play it. And then there's a bunch of other little things that can change too, like did you spare this character? Did you kill them? Did they die?
That's kind of neat though. It's a lot of factors that add up. That some games have that, some games don't, but it's always fun to see that because you go back and you're like, oh yeah, I remember doing that.
Yep.
I guess you should probably not do it this time or something along those lines.
Every target that you get sent to eliminate, there's a number of different ways to accomplish that, but there's also always a non-lethal option. It's a little bit harder to do in most cases, and it requires a little more digging and effort on the player's part, a little more creativity, but you can pull that off too, and you can go through the whole game without killing it.
That's pretty awesome. I know with the Boyle mission here, I know it changes kind of depending as you're playing it.
Yep.
I got up to the top level there, and I alerted the guards accidentally. First time I'd done it the entire series there, and I guess it just kind of changed the entire outcome. I guess I was originally supposed to kind of find her, lead her up to the top, and do something that way, but instead I kind of just ended up finding her because I got access to everything and just kind of went through and, ended her.
I should tell you something else about that mission. If you were to replay it, a lot of the elements are randomized. So, so you're sent to kill the Lady Boyle, right? You're sent to eliminate the aristocrat, the Lady Boyle. And the reason is because she's financing the military operations of the Lord Regent. So if you take her out, then the Regent's funding will be cut, right? However, the problem is there's 3 Lady Boyles, and they're wearing masks, and you don't know which one is the right Lady Boyle. Now, the cool thing is, if you replayed the mission, which one is the guilty one will be different each time, and which color dress they're wearing will be different each time. So you won't have the same experience.
That's pretty awesome. I didn't get a chance to. I did replay the first part of it a couple times just to see what would change.
Yeah, so your friend won't be able to tell you, it's the one in the white dress, take her down, because it won't be.
Yeah, I noticed because I kept walking through and the party guests were like, oh yeah, the Boyles are in this color dresses, and I'm like, this is, it gets really, you have to look for the clues. It really makes you play a little bit more.
Yeah, and of course it's always an option to just say, you know what, this party is over. Start dropping grenades and taking cards down. That's a lot harder, I think.
My mind.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, the weapons you guys have too are fantastic, just from what we've seen in the demo. I know the pistol is pretty interesting. It seems like it's almost a shotgun sometimes.
Yeah, it does have. I don't remember. It has some upgrades you can put on it, so you can tweak it out. Like it's the accuracy and the range, and I think one of the upgrades does give it like more of like a grape shot instead of like a one solid slug.
That'll be fun. I know the grenades are pretty interesting. I know the sticky one looks like it's you guys practically taped a bunch of nails together and threw it at someone.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. That's some people's favorite weapon because
I can see why.
It's pretty fun to combine it with bend time. You can stick them on any surface, including other people. So you could freeze time and then just go clank, 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 back up, and then watch everybody fall to pieces.
Well, a question about the powers themselves. How in the world did you guys come up with some of those powers? Like the rat swarm is, I don't think I've seen that before, honestly. It's pretty interesting to watch, especially once the enemies are actually dead.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good dovetail between like the fiction and the powers, right? So we started talking about the story elements with like, the plague and the rats in the city. We knew we wanted to do like lots of creepy little groups of rats running across the street and stuff like that. And then we were like, you know what? We should let the player like call up and control one of these swarms of rats. And the powers combine in really cool ways too. So if you happen to have possession, level 1 of possession allows you to possess animals like little rats and hounds and fish. And so if you have rat swarm, then there's no reason why you can't. And even if there's not rats around, you call up your own group of rats, possess one of them, and then sneak in somewhere.
That's pretty awesome.
Or escape. Some people use it to escape. Like, I'm getting my butt kicked. Call up a couple rats, jump into a rat, and take off.
I noticed too, when you end up possessing someone, when you finish possession, you end up basically appearing behind them.
Yeah, it's not like a, when you get the power and the game, tells you what it is. It's not actually like a form of remote control. You are actually like inhabiting the other person's body and driving them around. And when the spell ends, you eject from their body right behind them.
Which that's actually pretty awesome. I know when I was playing on the show floor downstairs, it kind of threw me because all of a sudden I appeared behind the guy possessing. I was like, what the?
Yeah.
But I know in the Boyle mission, there's a secret room that's kind of accessible only with the rat too.
Yep, that's right.
That's a really cool design addition. I mean, it really makes you kind of think. It's like, wow, there's a.
I think though you could find. I mean, there's more than one way to do everything. So there's, I believe there's a key somewhere if you find the right person's room.
I think there is a key. There's so many different things to do.
Yep. Yeah.
You guys are doing a fantastic job with that. I mean, I love the fact that the gameplay kind of evolves. It basically reacts to what you do.
Yeah.
And I mean, some games have that, some games don't, but you guys seem to have really nailed it for the most part. I mean,
I hope so. Time will tell. That was our goal, though.
Oh, you guys did a good job, but it did take a lot of effort, though. I mean.
Oh yeah. I mean, whenever you have a very open-ended game design where you let players combine lots of interesting tools and powers, and they can kind of move around the space in a free-form way. Believe me, the game can break in lots of different ways. So, like, the latter half of our effort is spent shoring up and supporting those different things. Like, oh great, another a tester figured out that if they did things in this order and they put a spring razor on this guy's head and then did this, and then the game explodes. So, So we got to fix all that stuff.
Are there any funny dev tales like that? Pretty much the game broke because of something you guys didn't expect?
You know, there's lots of ways that, you know, early on people combine powers to overcome obstacles in like really quick ways. And we had to have, you know, we had to have discussions about whether or not we wanted to support it. So, you know, like somebody, the one I've talked about before is like somebody combined double jump and our blink power. So blink is like a short-range teleport. And so that's one of the powers that everybody has in the game. It's sort of the Corvo's signature move. You can, like, in the blink of an eye, shoot across, you know, the street.
Which is pretty fun to do, actually.
Yeah, it's really good for escaping or for setting up a really awesome ambush. However, one of the upgrades that you can get is double jumps. You can like leap really high or leap down from rooftops. And so somebody, you know, we had this like long street with a security checkpoint, and somebody got up onto a rooftop, you know, like a block away, sprinted across the rooftop, double jumped in the air, and then right at the apex of their jump, then blinked, and like, you know, they made it like a football field across the street, and they totally bypassed like all this like, you know, challenging gameplay in like, you know, 10 seconds. But the person who did it is like, feels like a ninja. You know what I mean? Like,
it definitely helps.
Yeah, they feel totally awesome. And so, you know, that was one of the places where we decided, you know, we need to support that. We need to make sure that the level still works, the gameplay still works if they happen to pull that maneuver off.
So that's pretty awesome, though. I guess it does add a whole new layer of design challenges, pretty much.
Yes. It's incredibly difficult, but incredibly rewarding to make a game like this.
You guys have done a fantastic job, like I've said a few times now. I'm surely looking forward to the game myself. I've mentioned that. Mm-hmm. I'm sure everyone out there is going to be looking forward to it as well.
Cool.
I guess we only got, what, about 2 months to wait now?
Yep, it's going to be out on all platforms October 9th.
Can't wait.
Thanks.
But, thanks for your time, Ricardo. I guess I've got all my questions pretty much answered here, so okay. I think if anyone else would have any questions, obviously we would have them chime in. But
okay.